AI is changing what it means to be a CMO, the leadership skills that CMOs need to have, that marketing leadership needs to have, now needs to include advocating for AI for the organization, because marketing is where most of AI transformation and AI value happens. And so now CMOs have to not only understand AI as it relates to marketing, but they have to understand what it means to the different stakeholder partners. You have to be able to influence on behalf of your team and the entire organization, get the CEO on board. And also because AI is a scary new time for a lot of folks. And so there's a little bit of a leadership vacuum where we need bold, courageous leaders to step in and say, here's how we are embracing the future.
This show has been brought to you by Cirrus North. Does your organization need a better partner for cloud, DevOps, security, and compliance? Cirrus North is a team of software professionals with a passion for cloud solutions, DevOps, automation, Kubernetes, and streamlining complex business problems. They are 100% US-based in Minnesota and Chicago, have deep experience supporting mission-critical technology operations in highly regulated environments, and have delivered success for startups and for companies on the Fortune 5. Interested? Reach out to the team at cirrusnorth.io. That's cirrusnorth.io. Thanks, Cirrus North. This video has been brought to you by the PM Insider. Product managers, are you ready to take your skills to the next level with AI? The AI for Product Management course by the PM Insider teaches you how to harness the power of AI, even if you don't write code. Get 15% off when you use the code SWIFT15 at checkout. That's 15% off with the code SWIFT15 at thepminsider.com. Thanks, PM Insider. Hello, and welcome back to Swift Start Go, the AI podcast where we talk about all things AI with AI experts. Today, I am so excited to have a dear friend of mine and really impressive AI marketer, Megan Starkey. Megan Starkey is the founder of RBD Co, an AI adoption consultancy that is helping some of the world's biggest brands transform their marketing strategies with AI. Megan's career spans decades of experience driving digital transformation at Fortune 500 companies like Target, Pillsbury, and IBM. She's developed a unique methodology, the Starkey Model, to help businesses scale AI from pilot to full-scale transformation. She's also a passionate advocate for empowering women in tech and is a powerful voice for responsible, bias-free AI. In this episode, we'll explore the future of AI in marketing, what it takes to lead successful AI initiatives, and how Megan is reshaping the landscape with RBD Co. Megan, welcome to the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. And also hello to everyone who's watching and listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Megan, I just gave quite a bit of an intro for you, but could you tell us a little bit more about yourself, or more what you think, like what are the gaps that I'm missing here?
Well, I would just say, so first of all, that was a great introduction. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, my entire career has really been unconventional. I started out as a freelancer. I worked at agencies for a long time, went back to freelancing, did management consulting as a subcontractor, working in marketing, but in digital transformation context. So I've had every part of the marketing function, which gives me a really nice 360 view. But I've also worked in adjacent functions like analytics, both technical and marketing analytics. And so I mention that because all of this experience I truly feel like I have been waiting my whole career for this moment, because it is just such a perfect culmination of the experiences that I've had so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, analytics, because you said analytics, marketing, and business transformation. Those were kind of the three things.
Digital transformation.
Transformation. Yeah, what a perfect mixture when it comes to trying to implement AI into organizations large and small. Well, so now you're doing consulting once more. I'm curious, why did you decide to launch RBD Co, and why AI specifically? Why did you decide to capture upon this moment, other than being absolutely perfect, the absolutely perfect person to do so, right?
Well, The core of my answer, I think you're really onto, because you said capture the moment versus, it certainly wasn't something that I had planned or set out to do. It was really a natural development for me as I found myself in a transition. I left my in-house marketing leadership role in corporate really recently, actually, in 2024 in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
and have always been interested in AI. Well, always since the last 2 years. So I certainly wasn't focused on AI like some people were prior to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm an early adopter, and so being in transition, I knew that it was really important for me to be fluent, and I had already done a lot of experimentation and helping others along on their learning journey. And so as it happens, it just, one thing led to another, and I started working with companies and really just started formalizing my offers.
Yeah.
And of course, the more that you learn, the more you're then able to test and apply. And so it's all gone pretty quickly.
Product managers, are you ready to take your skills to the next level with AI? The AI for Product Management course by the PM Insider teaches you how to harness the power of AI even if you don't write code. Imagine being the person in your organization who not only understands AI, but can also drive data-driven product strategies, build AI integrated roadmaps, and enhance user experiences with predictive analytics. Get 15% off when you use the code SWIFT15 at checkout. The link is in the description below. That's 15% off with the code SWIFT15 at thepminsider.com. This course is your gateway to becoming a leader in AI-driven product management. Don't miss out. This show has been brought to you by Cirrus North. Does your organization need a better partner for cloud, DevOps, security, and compliance? Cirrus North is a team of software professionals with a passion for cloud solutions, DevOps, automation, Kubernetes, and streamlining complex business problems. They are 100% US-based in Minnesota and Chicago, have deep experience supporting mission-critical technology operations in highly regulated environments, and have delivered success for startups and for companies on the Fortune 5. Interested? Reach out to the team at cirrusnorth.io. That's cirrusnorth.io. Thanks, Cirrus North. Yeah, absolutely. Well, my first AI-related question for you that I want to explore today is, I'm curious, what are the most exciting AI use cases that you have seen in marketing lately? Because I know you're right on the front lines here working with a whole bunch of clients. I'm curious what is most exciting, what is most interesting for you, or maybe what is just beyond the horizon?
That's a great question. So I have kind of almost like a three-part answer, right? Because there's the excitement of what can be done,
Mm-hmm.
how AI is transforming marketing and customer experience as a function in general. So that's kind of what I'm most excited about. And then there's hypothetical use cases,
Yeah,
and real life firsthand experience. So let me just share a few things. So I think in the big picture, what I'm most excited about is the idea that all brand touchpoints can now be hyper context aware and sequenced in a way that is super meaningful and helpful to the customer.
mm-hmm.
And so the more we know about customers and the more we can balance all of these different signals and data points, interpret them, optimize them, we're linking the entire tech stack together. The more we can do that, the more value that we can add. So what that might look like, I'll just transition to a real world use case. An insurance company wants to proactively mitigate claims frequency and severity. Mm-hmm. And so what they do is they manually, prior to AI, they would manually go out in certain regions and check the weather. So if there's hail, they would send an email, there's hail, put your car in the garage. So it saves the insurance company money. Mm-hmm. Well, now at this point, you can set up triggers to identify when certain criteria enter certain risk zones. And then you automatically can send out an email that is so hyper specific to that person's name, that person's, the weather there, their particular car, everything about them. You can even inject like social signals. So um, if there's like viral trends, or there's something going on in the world that is important and relevant to that particular scenario. Then all of that information can then be applied to this hyper specific email that then goes out. Now that's just one small use case, but it illustrates the bigger idea that we can do so much more with less in a way that helps the customer. So for me, it's all about unlocking new value creation for the customer, doing things we couldn't do before.
Yeah, very cool. That really reminds me of, I was talking with a gentleman a year ago about what were use cases he was using or thinking about using for some of his clients. And he spoke about fast food restaurants. There's already so much data on people, like being able to, I don't know exactly how it was supposed to work, but it was something about when your phone enters the network of like a fast food restaurant, walking into the building, and if you have a digital board of what all the menu items are, being able to adjust it based off of the person or based off of the weather of what was happening locally outside. So if it's really, really hot, making sure there's iced coffee, or if it got really, really cold, maybe feature hot chocolate, right? Or if this particular person always wants to order chicken nuggets, that chicken nuggets like flash up on the screen, right? So being able to create hyper personalized experiences in a physical environment, but based off of data that you have on people and whatnot.
That's exactly right. And it reminds me of the use case that we talked about recently with L'Oreal.
Yes, right? Yes.
And so when you can bring augmented reality into the situation, now as a shopper, I can match my foundation to my face. And that's not, that's not just hyper personalized marketing. That's hyper personalized marketing that creates value for me.
Yeah, it's hyper personalized shopping, really, because if you think about, it's just part of the buying process. Like, yes, it's marketing, but maybe we should explain to the audience what that L'Oreal piece was. Do you want to pitch that really quick, or should I be the one to go for it?
Well, you worked on it, so let's.
No, I pitched it. So okay, for anybody who's unaware, I started my career at a big ad agency in New York called McCann New York, and one of the brands that was there, it was L'Oreal, the makeup and hair brand. And while we were there, L'Oreal Paris had released an AR tool, so an augmented reality tool, meaning, if you have a phone here, you could use it and see different things that are not real. So if you think of filters and things like that, that's basically what we're talking about here. So L'Oreal Paris had made a tool where you could use the camera tool on your phone to go and test out what different types of makeup would look like on your face. And so I was working with the L'Oreal Feria team, and I said, hey, I have been too chicken to do anything with my hair for my entire life. If we can do that for faces, we should be able to adjust like L'Oreal Feria and change my hair color on this app. And maybe we can like find a way to test out new hairstyles, like make people put their hair in a ponytail or something and then have new hairstyles. I pitched it to everyone in the office for weeks. And I ended up in a loop of no one knowing how to execute on that project. And so recently Megan was giving a talk where she revealed that how much money had they made, Megan?
It was for the foundation match tool.
Yeah.
$6 billion yearly in incremental e-commerce.
Yeah. Revenue. Yeah. So I didn't technically work on the makeup version of the project, but I pitched a hair project back in 2014. So when Megan
Years
said that
later.
it was such a big, I remember it was like treated as a gimmick when it first came out. And I was sitting there being like, no, this makes so much sense. We should absolutely be doing this.
And they're ubiquitous now. I mean, all you have to do is scroll Instagram for 5 minutes and you get ads for
Yeah.
hairstyle try-ons.
Yeah, exactly. So, or just being able to go on TikTok and just like using the TikTok filters and stuff. Like I've used the
Mhm.
TikTok filters to like see what would I look like with bangs, which hasn't been gone that well. So I maybe should see if L'Oreal actually has a better hair option now.
There we go.
Oh gosh. But yeah, I think the opportunities with AI and a mix of augmented reality in that particular case, like having that personalization and making the buying experience just that much easier, I think really does make a massive difference, especially if you're shopping online.
Hmm. Yeah, well, and you said something too that might be a segue into this next part of the podcast or not, but you said no one at McCann knew how to execute on it, and I
Yes.
think that um, that's really one of the biggest gaps that I am aiming to fill. This idea that 90% of executives know that AI is something that they have to do, but no one really knows the right way to do it
Yeah.
because this playbook is still being written. And I think it's difficult for marketing leaders, for any leader really, to know how deep do I need to go technically to understand and be able to have informed discussions with my stakeholder partners and with my direct reports and with the people that are making decisions.
Mhm.
And how, or do I just delegate one person to go out and learn it all? I mean,
Yeah.
so demystifying all that and translating these complicated topics into really simple, actionable terms is really what I love most about what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think? Because we're now digging into my perfect segue. My next topic of how do people in large enterprise organizations navigate this? So what are the biggest mistakes that you see big enterprises making right now when it comes to implementing AI either into their workflows or into their products?
Well, I think the mistakes are really just blind spots,
Mhm.
and there are a lot.
Yeah.
Some of these failures are really acting as deterrents
Mhm.
for other companies
Yeah.
who see AI as a huge risk. But I'll just name a few. One is, so on both sides of the spectrum, we have companies that focus on too small of use cases. So they think too small and then they don't see the value from AI. They can't prove the business value, and then that stalls progress.
Yeah.
So AI is not inherently is not a siloed capability. Marketing can't do AI by itself,
Yeah.
yet some functions kind of conceive of AI as, let's get this AI tool, let's get a Copilot license, let's do it, ourselves. So starting too small is one thing, or not kind of considering the full picture. And then running into bottlenecks when the infrastructure isn't there.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the spectrum, it is building too fast, building solutions that are too complex for the business need, building solutions with technology that is advancing so rapidly that it becomes obsolete. And so the CEO views it as a sunk cost. And again, that stalls progress. Not having a clear use case, using AI kind of broadly, thinking of AI as a technology deployment is a huge one and so common. I mean, IT leaders get this remit of, okay, we're doing AI now.
Yeah.
When really like an effective AI strategy needs to have inputs from all areas of the business. We need to understand the business need. What is AI trying to solve?
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be machine learning ops, which is a new function around, making sure that there are guardrails and governance and that the data that's flowing into models is accurate and all of that. So AI it really represents a fundamental transformational shift. It's a new kind of digital transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the biggest mistakes is just that leaders don't know that that's the case.
Yeah.
And many other, mistakes underneath that. One other one worth mentioning is not treating data as a product.
Yeah.
So most large enterprises have some level of technical debt where corners that you've cut over time accumulate, and then you face a reckoning process where your data is now not able to flow where it needs to flow in the organization. It's not actually reflective of reality. It's not easily packaged and consumed. And so you feed these into models. And as we all know, the data is what fuels the models. And so AI then fails when it's really the data preparation that failed. So that's a few things.
Yeah. That's honestly the one consistent feedback I've heard over and over is large enterprises data is sometimes it's well executed, but sometimes it's such a mess that you can't do anything with it. And so if you're trying to implement anything with AI, you end up getting stuck in like this giant crevasse of a data hole and you're trying to carve it out, fix it, and try to figure out how to get it to be usable enough so that any of these solutions are even possible.
That's exactly right. I'm a huge advocate for taking parallel paths. So it's going to take a while for that technical debt to be solved. I just was talking to a lead engineer over at Fortune 500 retail company here in town who was saying, my main remit is technical debt. Where do I even start with that? And so sometimes that can be a 2, 3, 5-year long process.
Wow.
Right? I mean, that is transformation. And so during that time, then, you're not going to stand around twiddling your thumbs waiting for some activity needs to be done. And so that's where you start to think really strategically about, okay, well then meanwhile, what are the tools that we can bring in house? What are the skills that we can instill in our teams so that at least we can start to get value on an individual one-on-one basis? So it's like, what can we do now? What can we build for later? Are kind of the two things that need to be thought about simultaneously.
Yeah. So speaking of, what's the strategy of how to move forward and like what can you do while waiting for technical debt to be caught up? I'm curious, what methodologies would you recommend? And or does this have anything to do with the approach that you developed called the Starkey Model?
Yes. So I would recommend the approach that I developed, the Starkey Model.
Yeah.
And just to briefly describe it, its aim and purpose is to help prioritize AI efforts in a way that is tailored to the business needs of a particular company and the readiness of that company. It helps organizations focus on what are the pilots that are going to enhance the most business value with the least amount of organizational friction. And so it's really about prioritizing and kind of that first pilot phase. And then once those things are underway, there's kind of another set of activities that need to happen in order to scale and fully embed AI across the organization. But for simplicity's sake, essentially what it is, it resembles an effort impact matrix, but it's essentially where you're looking at what are all the different ways that, let's say within the marketing function, that marketing is creating value. We have some campaigns, some activities, some teams that are focused on efficiency and cost savings. Some years, our strategic priority might be sales growth, revenue driving. Some years we might be doing a rebrand and we want to focus on competitive differentiation. So all these different priorities, we look at AI from the lens of in each of these activities, campaigns, teams, everything that we're doing, we break it down. And what is the business value that AI could potentially enhance if we focused on this area? So just to make it real for a second, let's say I'm running a performance marketing team and I am responsible for paid search. And it's really important that we are driving revenue. So we care more about revenue than we care about profitability. Mm-hmm. If we could, let's say, increase our revenue by 40% using whatever theoretical AI tool, how would that impact the business? So you look at it from a sense of like strategic fit also. And so you kind of break apart everything that marketing does and you look at it in terms of what is the value that we could get from this, and then how important is it? So there's a weighted scoring model where you then score from 1 to 5 with different priority weights. Okay, well, this activity we're going to score it, a 4 of 5 on the revenue generation scale. And then we set those weights. And then we do the same with feasibility. So feasibility is all of the standard data readiness assessment questions that you hear about in AI. Pretty standard. Like, what is the quality of the data? What does your MAR tech stack look like? Is the data coherent, et cetera, and so forth. And so when you finish the scoring exercise, you end up with a plot of everything that marketing or whatever your function is does on a 4x4 effort impact grid. And so the things that are highly feasible and highly valuable is the things that you do now. And then you see the things that you naturally want to be building for later, deferring, et cetera. And so why this is different from a typical effort impact matrix and why it's different from how organizations usually approach AI is because it's so granular. It's focused at the use case level, which is really what we want to be doing. Because what is the purpose of assessing your data readiness across the entire organization if it's so important at the piloting stage to be focused on solving a particular pain point in marketing? So it's just engineering things really tightly with the smallest pieces possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we think about digital transformation and specifically AI transformation and employing methodologies, whether they are the Starkey model or whether there's something else, a lot of organizations typically likely would need to hire new talent onto the teams, right? So I do want to hear your answer from both directions. So I'm going to start from the employer side. And then afterwards, I'm going to ask about what talent people who are looking for opportunities should be focused on. But if you're an employer who's looking to do some AI transformation and you're looking for new talent, what types of skills and experiences do you want to be looking for? And how different is it from what they maybe have been looking for in the past?
So this is a really, really common question. In every engagement that I've ever had or any conversation with an executive, it's always, what skills do I need? What are the nice to haves? What are the must haves, et cetera? So I'm glad that you're bringing this up. And it's really a multi-part answer again. Yeah. So one way to think about it is specific to the level of maturity at your organization and the activities that are on your roadmap for the next 3 to 5 years. You want to bring on people with skill sets that match those particular priorities. And so that's going to look different for every company. So but that's not the whole answer. That's just part of the answer. You want to have strong skills fit for what you're doing with AI specifically. The other part of the answer is that for any company to have a competitive advantage, just like for any employee who wants to have a competitive advantage in the job market, you have to be AI fluent generally. And that means you are the number one skill, or fluency attribute, I would say, is with prompting. You have to have a comfortability, and your entire team should be comfortable with prompting beyond using it just for its outputs. So everybody should understand, how can I use a large language model in my everyday workflow? So if I'm a campaign analyst, do I understand how to structure data in a spreadsheet so that I am now leveraging the cognition powers of AI to do the analysis and pattern recognition that I typically do, right? So everybody should know how to augment with LLMs beyond just, searching for, help me streamline my calendar this week. Mm-hmm. The other piece of AI fluency is just having a basic working knowledge of the technologies. Everybody has to know go through a basic tech training. Everybody has to know the difference between deep learning and machine learning, et cetera. So, and even if it feels like that's not valuable today or for the next year, if you're not if you think about your hiring plan, who you hire now and the skills that they have now you're just going to be ahead of the game in 12 months when those skills really do matter. And then two other things I will say, because this is such an important question, is the top team, investing in an AI talent bench with a subject matter that represents every function of the business that will be involved in AI. So engineers, data scientists, maybe not subject matter experts, but data product managers. So having a senior person, like a VP or senior director that can make decisions for the department, that is a game changer. Mm-hmm. The last thing is marketing leaders. So CMOs have an opportunity, the AI is changing what it means to be a CMO, the leadership skills that CMOs need to have, that marketing leadership needs to have, now needs to include advocating for AI for the organization, because marketing is where most of AI transformation and AI value happens. And so now CMOs have to not only understand AI as it relates to marketing, but they have to understand what it means to the different stakeholder partners, like managing across, and be more fluent in their peers' technical realms than they have been before, because you have to be able to influence on behalf of your team and the entire organization, and advocate, get the CEO on board. And also because AI is a scary new time for a lot of folks. And so there's a little bit of a leadership vacuum where we need bold, courageous leaders to step in and say, here's how we are embracing the future, and almost taking on a change management role as well. Mm-hmm. And learning about AI, because not every CMO wants to learn everything about every function that they lead. So
yeah,
long answer. I'm sure you have many questions.
No, I think I have one specific question, which was something that you said about CMOs needing to up level in AI right away. You said something about AI and marketing being the most critical change or something like that, or it has the biggest impact in marketing compared to any other field. Is that what you said? Did I mishear that? Or
let me clarify.
Yeah.
So if you look at the value in the economy, so the economic impact that AI drives across functions, it's three functions that are creating the most value in the economy, and that's marketing, sales, and engineering. So what does that mean? That means that the AI initiatives undertaken by these three functions are pumping the most into the economy, and that's where the majority of direct AI spending, so the AI market in specific, is also happening in marketing, in sales and marketing, and product development or engineering. And that doesn't mean that HR and other functions can't take advantage of AI, but when marketing takes advantage of AI, that impact cascades, through consumers and
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense, especially because if you're thinking about, or if you're thinking about what has the most sway over selling products, it is marketing and sales for sure. I mean, the product as well, but
Yep, marketing is a revenue driving function, and so yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to flip the question again because we started with what should employers be looking for, but a lot of the people who watch this show are job hunting. And so I am curious, what advice would you have for potential talent who are using AI tools and feel relatively confident in them? But I know from my perspective, I'm a daily ChatGPT Perplexity user. I bounce around all the different LLMs, but I try to just use the free tools. And I am very familiar with how the industry works and the difference between all of what was it that you said? Talking about the difference between deep learning and
machine learning
and generative AI and whatnot. But I think there's a question of, well, what counts as having enough expertise to be able to say in an interview, oh, I know what I'm talking about, and I'm in the top 1%, 5%, 10% of people who know what they're talking about. Right? This has been my issue.
I love this question.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think everybody really is in the same boat. So let me share a personal anecdote to answer this question. So I'm giving a talk, and I meet afterwards a CEO of an AI security company. We're talking about the subject matter, and I was expressing what a challenge it was to build a talk that was going to resonate and feel relevant to across this wide diversity of familiarity levels. I had no idea, who is sophisticated versus who isn't.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, those of us at the forefront, or people who are using AI regularly, or we're at least somewhat proactive about learning about AI, we've taken some courses, sort of take for granted that that's what everybody else is doing too. But the truth is that if you are in that category, you are in the top 1%. Now, of course, it can feel uncomfortable to wear that label because as someone who knows, you then also know how much more there is to know.
Yeah.
But then those experts are a fraction of a fraction. And so I think from a job seeker perspective, if you are carving out time daily to experiment with LLMs and get better, for one, you're testing and trying out new tools, like off-the-shelf tools. You are taking courses, etc. You're reading news. Then you can comfortably say, I don't know if you would want to say I'm an AI expert, but you can confidently position yourself.
Yeah, I'm an intermediate AI user or something like that. It's interesting because I think what a lot of people are having trouble with is how do you articulate? Because on my end, I feel a little bit more comfortable with saying that I'm a ChatGPT super user. I'm probably I just leave ChatGPT open on my computer and I use it a few times an hour. So
draft it on the inside of your eyelids.
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting because then it's do I just put in my skills Chat GPT. Like that feels so goofy. But it also feels goofy to be like, oh, I'm an AI expert, right?
You're making such a relatable point, and my answer to that is I think being descriptive about the specific skills that you have. I am a large language model power user in these cases. I am familiar with these types of tools. I have taken these types of classes. So just saying,
Yeah.
just framing your knowledge into like specific terms. And then, but the thing is we're still early on in AI enough where who knows whether the hiring manager is going to even know how to interpret that.
Yeah. And
So
that's like my issue is like, how do I get past like, these ATS systems are just HR managers who maybe don't know what that means or don't know the difference between I use ChatGPT once a month versus I use ChatGPT every hour.
Yeah. So for job seekers, I say put all the AI things on your resume. And then for employers, you need to be you need to be capable of vetting those employees and asking the right questions and knowing what skill sets you really need on your team. Because we can still outsource for a while. You really want to minimize guesswork because that's what all your competitors are doing. They're feeling their way through it.
This show has been brought to you by Cirrus North. Does your organization need a better partner for cloud, DevOps, security, and compliance? Cirrus North is a team of software professionals with a passion for cloud solutions, DevOps, automation, Kubernetes, and streamlining complex business problems. They are 100% US-based in Minnesota and Chicago, have deep experience supporting mission-critical technology operations in highly regulated environments, and have delivered success for startups and for companies on the Fortune 5. Interested? Reach out to the team at cirrusnorth.io. That's cirrusnorth.io. Thanks, Cirrus North. Product managers, are you ready to take your skills to the next level with AI? The AI for Product Management course by the PM Insider teaches you how to harness the power of AI even if you don't write code. Imagine being the person in your organization who not only understands AI, but can also drive data-driven product strategies, build AI-integrated roadmaps, and enhance user experiences with predictive analytics. Get 15% off when you use the code SWIFT15 at checkout. The link is in the description below. That's 15% off with the code SWIFT15 at thepminsider.com. This course is your gateway to becoming a leader in AI-driven product management. Don't miss out. I have a few more questions for you, but first things first, I want to ask you, what are some of the unexpected challenges that can come from building AI that executives may not expect? I know we already covered how data in particular seems to be the most common theme, but I'm wondering if there are other things that executives or business owners or anybody who's working in AI transformation should be keeping an eye out for.
Yeah, so the watch outs are different at each stage of the process. So early on in the process, when we're trying to influence and get people on board, I would say the most difficult alignment challenge is between IT and marketing. So marketing appreciates, well, we have to do AI, and IT says, well, why do we have to do AI? A lot of times, so alignment is really the biggest challenge, especially because of the kind of the different biases that we each hold, or comfortability level, or there's just we're not at that stage yet where everybody's kind of on the same page about the importance of AI. So alignment is something that needs to be planned for. And how do you plan for that? You get fluent in the technical details of, like, you have to be able to have the conversations in a way that lands. The other thing is related to that, where the decision makers that need to be participating in transforming the organization with AI, we talked about that earlier, like from engineering, data science, like all the different partners, having different levels of AI knowledge. And that's actually happening at the highest levels, where industry, like the makers of chips, don't have the technical knowledge that they need in order to have conversations with academics, right? So So that's another thing to plan for. In terms of bottlenecks, once AI is underway, I see people underestimate the importance of governance, which is why the MLOps function is so necessary. So we have to pay attention to versioning. We have to make sure that different functions aren't using different versions of models, because then that complicates explainability. So I think there's a misnomer that AI, again, can be a functional, like can be a siloed capability where it really can't, because explainability is so important for regulated industries, especially. So just not having the ducks in a row in that sense. The other thing would be underestimating scope, which is related to that, but also costs. So somebody on the planning committee or on the pod or the transformation team or the AI team, which I do recommend having an agile team, has to understand, like on a per token basis, based on the size of our data sets, how much is this going to cost? Because the number one thing is organizations getting stuck in pilot purgatory, if you've heard this phrase. And that's one of the biggest reasons why. Either we're not proving out the business value quick enough, or it gets shut down because of costs.
2 quick rapid fire questions for you. What is exciting you most about AI, and what is scaring you most about AI?
Now, do you mean in the general sense beyond a business context, or is however I want to take it?
However you want to take it. This is your show. I mean, well, it's my show. You're just the guest. Drive.
The thing that I'm most excited about is democratization of knowledge for all people. Mm-hmm. And so how we all can do so much more to accelerate our unique individual skills and talents. Mm-hmm. So whether you're a comedian or a musician or a founder, it's not going to be long before agents are ubiquitous. Mm-hmm. And it's just rocket fuel. We're all just that much more close to stepping into our purpose and living our purpose. So that's my honest answer about what I'm most excited about. Mm-hmm. What I'm most afraid about, I shudder to even talk about. I think particularly now and in the next few years, the bad actors that have AI, it goes both ways, AI for good and bad. I mean, the most abhorrent things that we won't discuss that can happen online in a digital format, AI enables those things, so the darkness gets bigger and the darkness gets darker. Yeah. I also think that bias and inclusion or lack of inclusion are going to be real problems. Yeah. Real problems, especially in the United States where DEI is now banned. But if you think about the inequities that already exist and the disparities between men and women and between genders, AI, when we don't intentionally bring those diverse perspectives into model development, mm-hmm. Now we're entrenching those biases even more deeply and making them worse. So as bad as racism and colorism is today, it will be worse when AI, works as an amplifier of all things if we don't proactively combat that, which is why I am so loud about the importance of this.
Yeah. And I gotta thank you for being loud. We need more people who are being loud about this. So thank you for fighting the good fight.
Mm-hmm. Got to bring all the women along with us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I have one last question for you. Because I heard a rumor that you're writing a book. What is it true? Are the tales real? Is this just but a myth, or are the stories? do they have validity?
I love this tee up. You'll have to come on my book signing tour. I am writing a book, and the book is geared towards marketing executives to help us solve all of these problems that we have been talking about. And I'm so excited about it because there is no other book available today that kind of bridges the depth of technical, how to from a business perspective, from a transformation perspective, with the breadth of technical knowledge that is needed to be truly effective in these conversations and in these activities. So it's like we have books that are abstract and theoretical, and we have engineering books, and then we have AI marketing books that are all, essentially strategy books or use case collections. But what I have done is come up with the everything that you need to know, everything that you need to do, and how to do it with these frameworks that I have used with my own clients, and also based on hundreds and hundreds of hours of hundreds and hundreds of use cases. So we're going to be mitigating the risks and helping leaders sidestep the traps that so many others have fallen in. So very excited about this. I do have interest from a big publisher at the moment.
Ooh, okay. Well,
so it'll be out later this year.
I mean, that sounds like something that I need immediately. So let me know. So if people want to follow you and so that they can hear when this book is coming out, or if they want to work with you to set up some sort of a workshop or have you come in and be a speaker, a podcast guest, where should they go? Where should they follow you? How can they learn more?
Please follow me on LinkedIn. Megan C. Starkey is my name. And my website is rarebirdco.co.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
I have a newsletter, and we can do all the things.
Oh my gosh, a newsletter too? My goodness, I'm going to have to check this out. I can't believe I'm not already subscribed. Well, thank you, Megan, so much for joining me today. This was
great.
This is awesome. This was so great to chat with you. And thank you, everybody else who either watched or listened to us today. If you liked the show, please make sure to subscribe, follow on whatever platform that you are consuming this in. And my name is Carolyn Holden. This is Swift Start Go. Please make sure to check us out. We also have a newsletter and a YouTube show, and you can also follow me on LinkedIn. Just Google Carolyn Swift Holden. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day. Goodbye.
Thank you.
This show has been brought to you by Cirrus North. Does your organization need a better partner for cloud, DevOps, security, and compliance? Cirrus North is a team of software professionals with a passion for cloud solutions, DevOps, automation, Kubernetes, and streamlining complex business problems. They are 100% US-based in Minnesota and Chicago, have deep experience supporting mission-critical technology operations in highly regulated environments, and have delivered success for startups and for companies on the Fortune 5. Interested? Reach out to the team at cirrusnorth.io. That's cirrusnorth.io. Thanks, Cirrus North. Product managers, are you ready to take your skills to the next level with AI? The AI for Product Management course by the PM Insider teaches you how to harness the power of AI even if you don't write code. Imagine being the person in your organization who not only understands AI, but can also drive data-driven product strategies, build AI-integrated roadmaps, and enhance user experiences with predictive analytics. Get 15% off when you use the code SWIFT15 at checkout. The link is in the description below. That's 15% off with the code SWIFT15 at thepminsider.com. This course is your gateway to becoming a leader in AI-driven product management. Don't miss out.